I'm Ben. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Melting Spot, and I'm very, very happy to welcome today Rosie. Rosie will introduce herself in a couple of seconds, but just very happy to welcome you all on this brand new platform. Rosie, let's maybe start with a short introduction of yourself and how much you did in the community industry over the last couple of years.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm Rosie. I've been building communities for about 15 years now. Starting out with meetups and then kind of founded my own community, bootstrapping it, called Ministry of Testing. And then more recently, I led the community over at Indie Hackers and also at Orbit.
Okay, cool.
And on top of that, I'm doing Rosieland at the moment, which is more focused on community for community, I guess.
Okay, cool. So during these 30 minutes we have ahead of us, we will discuss like how much the community industry has evolved since you started 15 years ago. We'll try to compare, techniques and like pretty much everything, how it was like back in 2007 and how it is today to build a community. But maybe let's start with a short focus on the definition of community. What is a community according to you?
Yeah, big question. I think like lots of people have different ideas around what community is. Community to me is for me, it's just like bringing people together who have a similar interest and perhaps similar goals. I personally try to avoid the definition of community just because I feel like the world is changing. Community at the heart will probably never change. But community, how we build it, I feel is kind of changing with technology and how we're all interconnected, and that fundamentally changes how we build community. But I think like some interesting points is like you can have different types of communities,
Yeah.
but you can also have things like networks or fandoms or audiences, and I would say those aren't necessarily communities, but they kind of have elements of community in them, or they can lead to community, or sometimes they are communities and a bit of audiences. It's all kind of intermingled, which is why I don't like getting into the definition of it too much, because it's like it's hard to kind of have clear boundaries, I think.
Okay, cool. And if we just deep dive into Rosieland for a couple of seconds, what is it exactly? And when we prepared a little bit this interview, you told me that one of your purposes at the moment was to help building better communities. So I'm interested in understanding what you mean by better communities and what this means for us in the future.
Yeah, I started Rosieland as a kind of newsletter focused on community about 2-3 years ago now, and basically, like as I was moving on with my career, I wanted to move into specializing in community rather than leading communities, and I felt like that the world out there wasn't serving my needs in terms of the community information that's out there. So it was a bit of more of a hunch than like what I knew for sure. So I kind of spent some time just researching the community for communities, what was out there, did it align with my personal experiences of building community, and basically like the more I dove into it, the more I kind of realized that actually there's a huge gap in community that I feel isn't being served, and I'm not sure what the answer is or the answers are, but I want to explore it and I want to find ways to help people build better communities, because everywhere I was going, people were starting to like ask me, well, how do you build a community? How do you actually start one? How do you practically, tactically, theoretically, start a community? And people couldn't find like a clear answer. So that kind of stuck with me as I was exploring on how to teach about community, basically.
Okay, cool. And just a question about why should you start a community? Like if you are a business leader today, why should you start a community, and what is your first tip to start a community?
Yeah, why should you
Is
start a
there any
community?
good reason why you should start a community? Like one bigger reason than all the other ones, or?
Well, I think at the end of the day, we're all people and we all need to connect in some kind of way. And I think we can also look at businesses as communities as well. So I think like there's businesses as communities, but then there's like your business and your customers. So like businesses, your employees, but then there's the connection between the employees and your customers. And it, to some extent, it's perhaps like a different type of community, but it's still a community in that the more we kind of connect on a deeper level, it doesn't have to be super deep, but about what we care about. And if you like care about the business and the industry you're in, I think like community is the best way to get like deep insights into your industry, to connect with people, to build deeper relationships, to therefore, with the best intentions, you then use everything you gather through that process to help you build a better business.
Okay.
And that's like, for me, that's like the fundamental of it, is like we've almost lost this community aspect. We've lost the deep insight aspect that we can get from being with other people. And I just think it's crucial.
When did we lose this? When did we lose this aspect?
I don't know. I think like everything's gotten very transactional. I guess with technology, we've lost a lot of it.
Okay.
I like to like look at local businesses and how local businesses operate, and like good local businesses have not lost that. They're very connected to like the local community. Like my local greengrocers is very connected to their people. They see them, once a week, twice a week. They talk to them. They know them by name. They know the products they like. They listen to their customers when they request new products, stuff like that. So that's very like face to face. But I think like when we're using technology to build community, it's, or not build community, when we're using technology to build business, it's easy to lose all of that or dismiss it as not important because we can be more efficient. But I don't think business is necessarily always about being more efficient.
Okay. And that's something that we'll discuss that a little bit after in this interview. But clearly the world has changed over the last 2 years due to the COVID crisis, and communities went online, more and more online, which is probably a good thing because at least there are no geographic boundaries anymore. But bringing communities online and less offline probably accelerated this aspect you were talking about. So it's not because, or do you think even with online communities we can build true genuine relationships between the people and connect like truly people and brands on a platform?
Oh, I think so. I think it will never be the same as in real life. I think you can get very close to people. You can get to know people. You can build relationships. But like from my experience of building community online and in real life, it's like you can't beat the aspect of just talking to people when you're next to them, having a laugh, taking your time, not feeling rushed that you have to go to the next meeting or stuff like that. But like I've made friends online. I call them my friends. I think I tap into them. I ask for help. We help each other out. We support each other. We do things together. But it's not the same as real life.
Online.
Yeah, it's different. Which is which kind of backs up what I say when I think we need to think of different ways to build community, because online is good, online is great, it's amazing, but it's different from in real life.
Okay, I agree with that, and we'll discuss how much technology can impact as well the way we are building communities, and will impact the way we are building communities in the future. But are there any communities you would recommend as benchmark today? Online communities, like when talking about online communities, what is your best or your favorite benchmarks?
Oh, that's a good question.
Apart from Rosie Lane and Melting Spot.
Yeah, Melting Spot. Ministry of Testing that I built. I think it's a hard one to recommend, because communities are very personal. So to truly feel it and know how good it is, you have to experience it. And I think communities can be great for one person, but not necessarily the other. Ministry of Testing that I built, I feel it had a great impact on people's lives. And it was great to see people kind of, I guess, mature, grow up, and build their own networks and relationships through that. Yeah, I guess I love my local community, getting together with local communities. I worked at Indie Hackers for a couple of years. I had a great time there. Yeah, it's just so personal, right? It's just
depends on the topics, and
yeah.
But in the way they are managed or built, are there any communities that are really well managed?
I think.
And what are the common reasons for that?
Yeah, I think it, again, it depends. Most of my time is spent in the community world or the tech world. And to be honest, I think when I build communities, I go all in. So it's when I built Ministry of Testing, I went all in on Ministry of Testing, and I kind of ignored all the other communities around me just so that I could focus. But Product Hunt is a great community. There's downflows to it, but there's it really does bring people together. Yeah, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I can't actually think, which is probably not a great sign.
Don't worry. There's something we didn't say, but you're a great writer. You wrote a lot of articles on community building, and there is a whole lot of those articles that are available on your website. So I think we can share your website in the chat for the people who are interested in reading some good stuff on community building. But you wrote some articles on pretty much everything, even how to kickstart your community or develop your minimum viable community. I mean, that's interesting. So just go and have a look at on this website. I think it's very interesting. All the stuff you've been writing. Just let's switch to another topic. What do you think there is a difference between now and 15 years ago when talking about building a community, and what were the reasons why we were trying to build communities back in 2007, and are those reasons different today? What was the main reason to socialize? I mean, maybe in 2007, the main reason was to socialize with people and to connect with people. And today it became a business. It's more about growing a business through a community. Or can you feel some major differences?
Yeah, I mean, pre-COVID, there wasn't a huge amount of interest in community. There was communities, people were building their communities, but when you were trying to take community with more of a business mindset, it wasn't taken seriously. And I think that mindset has kind of shifted now with COVID. And that kind of started happening, I guess, 3 to 6 months after COVID. Everybody went online. And now everybody expects things to happen online in a way that never was never happening before. It could have happened, just like remote work could have happened before COVID. And I've been remote working since 2007, actually. So
yeah, but that was not the norm. I mean,
yeah.
the remote working is pretty like normal, and that's a big difference. Yeah.
I think like the biggest difference is that people know that community exists, but again, like there's a challenge that people are trying to build. It's almost like everyone's trying to build community, and it's overwhelming. It's like everyone has a Discord, or everyone has a Slack, everyone has a a newsletter, or some sort of thing to like bring people together, and that wasn't happening pre-COVID. Also, like pre-COVID, like if we're thinking like as like a community industry, there weren't as many job roles available, like specialist job roles. It was all kind of like community manager or head of community, and that was kind of it. And these days, there's a lot more roles like community operations. There's VPs, a lot more VPs of community. Chief community officer is one that's kind of happening as well. And I think those are signs that like the industry is starting to mature. People realize that actually previously these communities that were out there were managed by not enough people. Like you'd quite often have just like one community manager doing everything, and that's kind of not acceptable, to be honest, because it's like it's a lot of work to do. But yeah, I guess like one of the biggest changes is just like the technology that people are investing into. There's a lot more tools becoming available. Discord is increasingly popular, and that wasn't around until like 5 years ago, right? It started 5 years ago.
Yeah, true.
Slack is probably about 5 years as well, maybe more.
Yeah, Slack. Well, it all started in I guess 2016, so a little bit more 6 years, but yeah, became very popular in 17, 18, I guess.
Yeah, so definitely the tech, the tools. There's a lot more tools, but I think the consequences are that everything's kind of I think it's a bit messy, and people jump to the quick solutions. So I think they jump to Discords and Slacks too quickly, and there isn't always a lot of value there. But I kind of feel like in previous communities that there was more value in the conversations that were happening. They were slower conversations.
That was on forums and
forums, Google groups, just like Yahoo groups, listservs, those kind of things. Those are basically like pretty much they exist, but no one really uses them. But I definitely remember being on a bunch of them, and they were great for connecting and great for just like discussing things. But these days, no one's patient enough for that.
So what tools would you recommend today? What tools should we investigate when launching a community? There are plenty of tools. I've heard that on average, a community builder is using 13 different tools to engage or build a community. Well, I think it's a big number, and I think it's an issue as well for the member. On the member side, it's complicated to be onboarded and to use like as many tools as 13. So what would you recommend when talking about tools? Like, should you start with a very simple tool, or any tips on that?
Yeah, context matters, but like my mindset at the moment is like we have email marketing, but like marketing has hijacked email for email marketing, right? They marketing want that as their tool, but really like in the early days, email was not a marketing tool, right? So it's like like kind of bearing that in mind. To me, like a community tool is anything that you can use to communicate with people, to enable a conversation, to share information. So to me, like almost
So
like the best place.
curated communication, not marketing communication. So, yeah.
Yeah. So like in communities, like what you communicate would be different, but you still use the same tools. Yeah. So like marketing can use events, marketing can use videos, it's like they can use email, they can use social media. Community can do that as well. But obviously, like the more tools you choose, the harder it's going to be to manage, or the more you have to kind of keep an eye on. I'm not sure. It's like 13 tools. It's like it gets complicated pretty quickly. But if I was starting, I would explore like email lists. Start with an email list and newsletters, and then build your way up to like video events, stuff stuff like melting spots, like getting people together to talk about things, and kind of resist for as long as possible setting up a chat space or setting up a forum until people are like really kind of like asking for it.
Okay.
Because I think like if you do it too early, then you run the risk of just having this empty space that you're not quite sure what to do with.
True. Okay, thanks for that. What kind of return on investment can you expect or should you expect? And is it a short-term return on investment you should expect? Like, I've been talking to multiple community builders over the last couple of months, and some of them are clearly suffering this lack of obvious return on investment. Like they're being asked by their CEOs, okay, how much clients or customers converted from the community, and do you think that's the proper metric or?
No, definitely not. I think if you that's kind of like if you have that mindset that you're trying to convert the members into customers, it's kind of like the wrong mindset to go into community. If you're going into community, you're going in there to help the people, to serve the people as much as possible,
To give.
and to give, and if you give, they give back, but you have to give first.
So I think that's something very important, to give and you will be given back. Yeah.
I think businesses struggle with that. They struggle, they want to track everything, but I don't think you can. Just like in the local business greengrocers example that I used, that they don't track every conversation they have. They don't always track who comes in the door, but they know that by serving their customers and talking to them and listening to their needs, that they will do well out of it. And in community, if we invest in the people like that, it will bring returns, and it's not just monetary returns. It's also deep insights that you'll never get anywhere else unless you're talking to the people, and the deep insights that people won't normally tell just anyone. They'll only tell people that they trust. So that to me is where the value comes. It's kind of like, to me, it's like research and development. It's like when I built up Ministry of Testing, all my ideas came from the community, like researching, like talking to them, and then like just like that's how I built my business. I didn't do any marketing. I just worked with the community and listened to what they were talking about, and then tried to cater to things that I thought would bring value to them and to the business as well.
Okay, so hearing what you've just said, it looks like it can be a bit risky to put marketing and community in the same department. Like marketing is clearly ROI driven, business driven, conversion driven. Community should be very or shouldn't be in the same department, or shouldn't be considered as a marketing tool, according to you. Is that correct?
Yeah. I mean, I create memes about how like community is not marketing, and marketing is not community.
But we're talking about community marketing, so I'm a bit lost.
I know, but I think you can do community marketing. It's like to me, like community
marketing of your community.
Yeah. which I think will become a specialism within itself in time. But it's true. It's like marketing needs to keep their hands off of community in that sense. It's not that we can't get value or marketing can't get value from the community, but I think there needs to be boundaries to respect, because as soon as you start trying to be pushy and be salesy with the community, they're going to end up leaving because that's not what they're there for.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I believe in collaboration. I believe in collaboration, like community collaborating with marketing, community collaborating with
Other
uh,
communities.
other communities, but also just like other departments, like product. If you're building
Yeah.
a product and community has access to a lot of insights, they should be communicating those insights back to the product team so that the product team can then figure out what to do with it. It's not the community's job to figure out what to do with it. It's like, well, can the product team do something valuable with the information? And could then the product team go back to the original member who came up with the idea? And is there like room to work together on something around
Mm.
the things that they're asking? So yeah, I just think like that there's community should collaborate, and we should expect collaborations.
But it's a
But
dedicated team and it's an
yeah,
independent team. So just like we saw growth hacking or growth marketing emerging like a couple of years ago, your bet is that community is going to become like an independent team, autonomous team in the business environment, right?
yeah, I
Cool.
think so.
Any other thoughts for the future? What do you think is going to happen? Like, is this post-COVID trend going to keep accelerating, or what are the main risks you can see also? When we were preparing this talk, we share thoughts about community being a buzzword, like it's all over the social media, and as you said, all companies are willing to recruit a head of community and launch a community. So, is that a good thing? Is that dangerous? What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's good overall. It's good. It's like I'm happy. It's like community has this attention, and I've been saying for years it's like community is almost like the answer for everything. I truly believe that. Like if every business had a strong community, even if it's a small community, that can bring immense value. I think the risk is in the buzzword that
Mm,
um, there's not enough experts out there. There's not enough people who know what they're doing, who know how to build the strong foundations of a community. And as a result, like there's almost like community burnout. People are spinning up communities and they have no value and they gain no traction. And the more that happens, the more people will think that community doesn't work. Um, but it's not like marketing works all the time. It's like good marketing works, not bad marketing. And it's the same. It's the same with community. So for me, it's like the risk is um, it stops becoming a buzzword. I don't want it to stop becoming a buzzword. I want it to keep going. But I think the reality is that it's probably like a 10-year journey. I think
mm, yeah, I
to
agree with that.
mature the market. Um, and like everything in my mind is focused on how can I at least educate as many people as possible on what it
Mm.
means to build good community.
I
Um,
need, yeah,
yeah,
this industry needs a little bit of maturity, but it's like I've been in the startup and the tech environment for the last 15 years. So pretty much when you started in the community industry, I was starting in the startup industry. And 10 years ago, approximately, like some people were starting saying, you don't need a product, you need a CRM first. So first settle your CRM and then build the product. And basically today we could say pretty much the same. We could say settle your community and then build a product on top of your community. And
mm,
so maybe that's something we will see in the future. I think a lot of companies, a lot of startups are going to start with a community and then they will build a product out of this community. I think it's a good idea for a lot of startups to start building a community and then build a product thanks to the insights they will get from the community. So that's
and that's exactly what I did with Ministry of Testing. I built a community first, and then I built a business.
and
So
did it work?
yeah, it worked. It's a
Good.
it's a 7-figure business, and it's
So it worked.
independent and bootstrapped and
Yeah, so
all of
community
that.
can bring huge value to the
Yeah,
product and to the business. That's something
yeah.
I think we need to underline. What do you think? So in the last 10 years, product-led growth has been the go-to strategy. And I wanted to hear a little bit about community-led growth. That's a concept we really like here at Melting Spot. We believe community is will be the growth for companies in the future. So what do you think of community-led growth? Is that like a concept you believe in, or?
Yeah, generally speaking, community-led, community-driven, community-focused. I think
Yeah,
it's
everything community.
yeah. I think like if you have good community at the heart, um, then good things will come. I truly believe that, and I know that. I know, I personally know that from experience. Um, I guess like, the risk is not doing community well, and then, maybe people not seeing that or feeling that it's, the results are there. Um, but yeah, I think like if we can learn to do good community led, I think that's definitely the future.
Okay, so the whole point is to do good community-led and better communities. So I think it's time to wrap up this talk, Rosie. But I guess it's possible for anybody listening to us to contact you through your website or your social networks. You're pretty active on LinkedIn, I think. So don't hesitate to contact Rosie if you are willing to build better community for your brand or your company or your non-for-profit, whatever. Thanks a lot, Rosie. It was really a pleasure. We could have talked like for hours like that, but I'm sure we will meet again and talk again in the future. So thanks for your time. Thanks for your thoughts and insights. Next on in our community, we will welcome, I think it's Joshua from Asana in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned, and we'll keep inviting, inspiring community leaders to help you build better communities. Thanks, Rosie. Talk to you soon, and thanks to everybody. Have a great day. Bye.
Thank you.
Cheers, Rosie.